Greetings, blue and white friends. The Wildcats are holding a meeting with Leroy Biden Jr. A good name for Kentucky? He's a rookie point guard with high scoring potential. Let's take a closer look at this news. Subscribe to the channel to receive more updates. Kentucky continues to draw up, with each move, a clear plan for its point guard line. And a virtual meeting with Leroy Biden Jr. is another sign that Mark Pope is leaving no room for improvisation when it comes to team organization. At a time when the transfer market dictates the pace of the most competitive rebuilds in the country, the Wildcats show precision in mapping profiles that not only produce but sustain performance throughout an entire season. Blyden emerges in this scenario as a name that, at first glance, might be interpreted as a depth player, but who possesses attributes typical of players who quickly expand their role when placed in more demanding environments. What he showed in Toledo goes beyond flashy numbers, although those in themselves are enough to put him on the radar of bigger programs. A rookie capable of delivering 16.4 points per game with consistent efficiency, adding creativity, rebounding presence, and defensive impact does not go unnoticed in such a selective market. Above all, there is an element of reliability in Blyden's game that directly relates to what Kentucky seems to be looking for at this moment. His more than 33 minutes per game throughout almost the entire season are not just a statistic. They are a clear indication of resilience, game reading, and the ability to maintain a high competitive level under heavy load. In other words, he is the type of point guard who doesn't disappear as the game progresses, a valuable characteristic for a roster that intends to compete at a high level. A 40.7% success rate on three-pointers, with a significant volume of attempts, adds an even more interesting layer to his profile. In a basketball game that is increasingly spaced out and dependent on quick decisions on the perimeter, having a point guard who consistently threatens from outside opens up avenues for the entire offensive structure. This is without mentioning his defensive performance, evidenced by 1.8 steals per game, which reinforces the idea of an active, attentive player capable of generating transitions, something that Mark Pope's teams have historically valued. The Zoom meeting, although initial, indicates that Kentucky is attentive not only to the most talked-about big names, as in the case of Zoom Diallo, but also to players who can offer balance to the roster. And this balance is often what separates talented teams from truly competitive teams. Blyden fits exactly into this type of construction. Someone who can arrive without the weight of immediate protagonism, but with enough tools to achieve it naturally. There's also a strategic aspect to this move. By broadening the range of options at point guard, the Wildcats increase their safety margin for the season, avoiding excessive reliance on a single type of player. The coexistence of different styles, one more explosive, another more cerebral, one more focused on scoring, another on organization, tends to enrich the collective functioning, making Kentucky more unpredictable and difficult to guard. One name that has started to gain prominence in recent hours is Corey Cotton, a versatile player who has been attracting attention not only for his performance on the court, but also for the unique trajectory he has built so far. With Kentucky's interest confirmed, in addition to other giants like Kansas, Tennessee, and Texas, Cotton becomes another intriguing chapter in Mark Pope's relentless search for players who can revitalize the Wildcats basketball program. A native of Miami, Cotton has a story that reflects resilience and adaptation. In just 4 years of college basketball, he has already played for 3 different programs: Jacksonville State, VMI, and most recently, UT Rio Grande Valley. Each stop was marked by visible growth, culminating in an impressive season with the Vaqueros, where he emerged as the team's undisputed leader. His averages of 14 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game last season are numbers that, at first glance, may seem modest to those who follow the stars of elite college basketball. However, when analyzed from the perspective of context and efficiency, they reveal a player ready to take the next step. Cotton is not just a scorer. He is a complete player. His ability to contribute to various facets of the game, whether creating opportunities for teammates, controlling the pace of the game, or making his presence felt in the paint with his rebounds, makes him a valuable asset to any team seeking balance and versatility. His 47.4% field goal percentage and his accuracy on three-point shots, with about 4 attempts per game, indicate an athlete who understands the value of offensive efficiency, something that will always be welcome in the style of play that Mark Pope wants to implement. Furthermore, his inclusion in the Southland Conference's all-defensive team reinforces that Cotton is not just a one-sided player, but someone who can be impactful on both sides of the court. The connection between Cotton and Kentucky goes beyond statistics. There's an interesting tidbit that may have influenced the Wildcats' interest. Kahil Fennell, coach of UT Rio Grande Valley last season, worked as an assistant to Mark Pope for 2 years at BYU. This prior connection could facilitate dialogue between the parties and create an environment of mutual trust. For Cotton, who is about to embark on his 4th university in 4 years, finding a program where he feels valued and understood will be crucial to his final decision. And few places offer the kind of platform that Kentucky provides. Furthermore, Kentucky's current moment seems perfect for the arrival of a player like Cotton. After a frustrating 2025-26 season, the Wildcats are looking for pieces that can bring stability and leadership to the roster. The shooting guard/small forward position is a priority, and Cotton, with his experience and versatility, could be exactly the type of player the team needs to fill that gap. He not only has the technical ability to thrive at the SEC's high level, but also possesses the mental profile necessary to handle the expectations that come with a blue and white uniform. Another noteworthy factor is the role Cotton played in the historic UT Rio Grande Valley campaign. Under his leadership, the Vaqueros achieved the most wins in the Southland Conference in their history, a feat that not only demonstrates his individual skills, but also his ability to elevate the level of his teammates. This type of influence is invaluable for a program like Kentucky, which seeks to rebuild its identity after a period of transition. Few can compete with Kentucky's appeal, especially when it comes to players looking to maximize their exposure and prepare the ground for an eventual transition to professional basketball. The program's legacy, combined with Mark Pope's strategic vision, creates an attractive scenario for any ambitious athlete. Share your opinion.